Hello, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Thiago. I am a customer success manager here at TagoIO. And today we're going to be presenting automating IoT applications using scripts. So, welcome, everybody. As I mentioned, I'm a CSM here at TagoIO. Most of you already know me. We probably work together. If not, I'll be happy to talk to you after this webinar. Just remember that we have our audience chat available. So if you have any questions, you want to present yourself, feel free to do so. We're also going to enable our Q&A questions, and I ask you for the Q&A questions in specifically for us to address those on the end. And this section will be recorded. So, in case you missed anything, you want to recap, don't worry. We're going to be publishing that on our website later and sending you all a link so you can recap that. So, today I also have with me Vitor Lima, which is the lead developer here at our application team. And he will be sharing some of the topics and give us a live presentation of what do we have new, what do we have going on with the analysis. We have some great things to show today, and hopefully that's going to give us a boost for new projects that we have going on in developments. If you are just now joining Tago and you want to get an overview and a high level understanding of how it works, how do I put an analysis together, how do I trigger it, what are the tools that I have, and who can help me. So, with no further ado, let's go to our agenda. So today we're going to be talking general analysis overview, what it is, where I can find the documentation for it, what languages are supported within the analysis, what kind of FDKs and libraries can I use, how can I call an analysis, can I call an analysis through another analysis, for example. So all these we're going to be talking about. Second is we do have second and third, which is internal analysis, which we run inside TagoIO, and external analysis. For external analysis, we have something special for you today because with point three and four, external analysis and CNI, we have very hot topics to discuss of new features going on that will improve security and project management. And as I mentioned, at the end of this call, I'm going to be asking Vitor to join us and give us a live practice of and some tips and best approaches. So how can we can deal with that? So, at first glance, let's check the analysis overview. So, today we can run in a couple different environments. We do have the Node JS, or we have the Python. Like I mentioned, the analysis can be triggered by either an action or if you have a particular widget that depends on the analysis, you can trigger an analysis through a widget too. And as I mentioned before, you can call an analysis to work with another analysis to trigger another analysis. So that's very interesting thing. And there's a couple scenarios where that's important to keep things organized and separated. So as I mentioned, we have the ability to run that internally and externally, which means if you have a preferred tool, you don't want to use the module for now. You're doing a lot of testing, a lot of coding going on. You can use your preferred tool like Visual Code, download your libraries, and control your entire instance from a local machine, as well as updating your scripts later to TagoIO. So that's very useful. We're going to get a little bit onto that. Uh, that makes it extreme versatile, right? Because let's say you have a full application going on, and then you need to do a change on a script here and there. You already have accessibility through an external analysis to do that, and just node it up to your application. We're going to go over the SDKs that are supported today and what kind of research that brings us, and also the CLI. So the CLI is going to come strong, as I mentioned, in terms of project management and organizing your scripts, security, sending them up to Toggle, synchronizing them with your own environment. So that's going to be very helpful for everyone there. Hopefully so. So now I'm gonna move this presentation to Vitor, and he's gonna tell a little bit about to us in regards to the general structure, and then we're gonna move forward to the live practice. So Vitor is with you.
Hey everyone. So first here I want to do a very quick introduction on how analysis works. So maybe you have missed that. We have a couple of webinars that already go in more details, but just to get everyone on the same page. Inside your analysis, we have a specific structure, and when we call analysis, we have two different internal parameters that you can access. Being one of them the scope. So the scope contains the information of data. So if you are using an action or if you are using MQTT or a widget, the scope is usually the parameter which will contain all the information data related. So for example, when you trigger your analysis using an action for a specific data variable. The scope is where you will find the exactly data that triggered this analysis. And same goes for users device. So for example, an action that triggers when a user is created or updated. Under the scope, we will get information like the username, user ID, user email, etc. And another important parameter here is the context, and the context contain all information related to the context of this analysis. So there you can grab things like the widget ID, dashboard ID, action ID. If you did set environment variables on your analysis, there is where you will find these environment variables. Some other informations internally to analysis is also available, such as the analysis ID and the analysis token. So in order to use the analysis and as well for accessing all the different entities in your account, such as accessing your dashboard list, maybe you want to loop through all your dashboards or loop through all your device lists or do some filters. TagoIO just make available the Node.js SDK and also the Python SDK. So in the SDK, you can expect to have functions, methods, and classes that you can use to access your account. And usually, when using the SDK, you are required to provide some kind of token. So if you are accessing entities in your account, you want to use account token. If it's accessing data inside the device, you must provide the device token. Or if you are creating a network inside your profile, you will be required to use a network token. And you will find very detailed documentation on all these methods with some examples inside our SDK documentation. And of course, all these SDKs is not meant to be used only inside TagoIO, but for you to use externally as well. So if you are coding outside the TagoIO environment, let's say you are using AWS or Azure, you can use this SDK and access data inside your profile. And when running analysis, you do have two types of methods to run this analysis, where they run, where they are being hosted. Being the first one, the internal analysis, which means you can upload a code directly to Tago and have this analysis running internally in your profile. So TagoIO handles everything and maintain your analysis up running. You will be charged for the amount of minutes your analysis is running. We should be able to see all this in your billing information of your account. And the other way to run analysis is by running it externally. So you can use the SDK, for example, and connect internally to your analysis. In this case, this is free, you will not be charged. So if you want to debug your code, run internally using VS Code or some other kind of utility software that would help you manage your application, you can do that. You can also upload your analysis to AWS, Azure, any third-party service that can run your code. So it can you can have full control of the environment your analysis is running and where your code is hosted by using the external analysis method. And a brand new feature we have is the TagoIO CLI. So this is a tool that we mostly use internally here, and we are just going public with this new tool. This CLI is made to make easier for our team and for sure our customers to easily grab information in their account using the terminal, and also to work in different environments. Let's say you have different profiles. You have a test environment, a production environment. CLI will help you manage what is in these different environments and for you to deploy your analysis in these different environments. And this would be my goal of this webinar here. I want to show you how the CLI works and give you some tips when you try to use it. So let me share my screen here so I can show you the CLI. Yeah, so I'm here on the GitHub. You should be able to look for TagoIO CLI repository and find this code here. It have a README that will structure what is available inside the CLI and how to use it. So what is for you to install CLI? So CLI right now is only available on if you have Node.js installed in your machine, and you will be able to install this CLI by just running npm install. Usually you want to install this globally and uh, putting your package name here. TagoIO/CLI. We also recommend to install the builder. This is installed separately, but if you want to do deploys, you need to have both installed in your machine. And here is a quick list of the commands we have. So you have the option. I always recommend to use the init if you are going to a new project. I will show you how this works in a moment. You can just do a login to your account if you only want to access your profile and let's say use the devices here to get device data, do a backup, change device types, connect to your device inspector. This is very useful if you are debugging, you want to see if your device is sending data. We also have export feature. So this allows you to export all the entities of one profile to another profile. So CLI is a very powerful tool at working on different environments here. There are a couple of instructions here that I recommend you to update on your code if you plan to do deploy and connect your analysis using this CLI. One of them is to make sure you are sending your token as a process environment. So CLI already will automatically provide this token for you when you connect to the analysis. So you won't need to be copying your analysis tokens back and forward. This LI will do all the trick for you, but make sure you have this code in your analysis. And then we have a few instructions here on how credentials are stored. So, for example, every time you do a login, you can have login separated by folders. So if you go to one project, you log in there, it will create this file .tag log with your environment file. This will have your token encrypted. So if you share your screen, you open the file, no one will be able to see your token. Uh, for setting up environments, we also will be creating a tagoconfig.json. So this will contain a lot of information about your analysis. It's just the IDs and maybe the analysis names. So no, will not be having stored locally any information that would allow someone to access your analysis. Uh, but this will contain all the information about your environments, and I'll show you how this works in a moment. So let me open my terminal here. Okay. So first thing you want to do, here I have just Hello World repository for one of the examples we have at Tago. So it only includes a analysis.js and some default and node environment things. So first thing you want to do is make sure you have the TagoIO CLI installed. This will install globally the TagoIO CLI and will allow you to use the TagoIO command to access all these features in this tool. Let's give it a moment. So now I can access TagoIO commands. So from here you can see we don't have any environment set. So I cannot see email, name, profile ID, nothing. But I can see all the commands that are available in some descriptions. I can, if I do have questions about how using specific command to run the help and get more description, what these commands do, what are examples of running these commands. So for example here, uh, for the repository, let's say I want to connect this folder to my TagoIO account. I can go to TagoIO init. I need to provide an environment name. So this could be any name you prefer. I will use production here as an example. And then he will ask me if I want to create if I want to log in and create a token now. I can press yes. So if I press yes, it will request me to enter my username and password. If you have uh, the two-factor authentication, you will also be required to enter the two-factor. So I press no here. Then it will ask me which is my analysis folder. So I get the root folder here. Your building folder, so where you'll be storing the buildings if you are using TypeScript. So a very basic thing. So if in this case I did not log in, I can use the login uh, command here to log into my account, and I can just tag my login, and the CLI will prompt me to enter the username and password, but I can do directly using some parameters here. So let me log in using a token here. I think it's the easiest way. Okay, so now I have my login, and if I use the help command, I need to select my environment. So let me set, see if everything is in here, and let me check if my toggle config is ready. It's not ready. Let me do the init again, just a minute, using the token. So what is this folder? Huge. Okay, got it. So it required me to enter the login for the first time. or the token for the first time. So one of the things it asks me when I do the init here is to select which analysis I have in this repository. So you the CLI asked this for you because sometimes you do have analysis in your profile, but you don't actually have this externally, or you just want to quickly code and build a specific analysis. So let me get just the hello world script, and you can move with your arrow keyboards here, key arrows. Select, press enter. Yeah, so I put the wrong folder here. Okay, let me do again. Hello world. Okay, so now that I selected my analysis script that is inside TagoIO, it asks me to choose which analysis file I have here on my folder. So as you can see, I have the analysis.js. So it's asking me to associate this file with the analysis I have on my TagoIO account. So I just go ahead and select the analysis.js. And now, if I go to my Tago config here, it get my environment, my build path. From my prod environment, I have the analysis list. So you can see here, it associated the analysis.js file with my hello world script, which is my analysis that is in my account here. Let me show you quickly. So I have the hello world script here. So it associated both, and I'm free to use now the TagoIO. So I get my environments here. So I know I am in the prod environment. I have my profile ID, etc., and even the email of my account. And now I can use all the analysis features, the devices features on my profile. So for example, if I do want to check on my device list, go DL, and it display all my devices. I can even get this as a JSON if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so I can get everything as JSON, see my tags. I can get the data of a specific device. So I can just copy this ID here and get data for this device. So I don't have data for this device at all. Let me see if I have data for any of these devices here. Yeah, none of them has data, I think. So let me do something here because I do want to show you how this works. So let me send a few temperature readings. I can get the ID here. By the way, you can just go TagoIO data and choose your device if you prefer. Yeah, so I did get some data. I can also get this as JSON if you do prefer this way. And I do recommend you to check the help command because there is a lot of parameters. So just for data, we do have a lot of parameters like getting start date, change date, JSON, string file. We can get a specific group, a specific quantity of data. We can also pass multiple variables or specific variables we want to get. Now going back to the analysis. So as I mentioned that before, you do have to have this code here for your analysis to work. So actually we only need this line of code here. This if condition here is just let's say you want to do some testing. Let's say using Jest to do unitary tests in your code. You can have this so you when you run Jest, for example, it ignores this line of code and don't try to connect your analysis and run all your internal tests. But let me go here to my analysis and I will completely replace this model export for this line of code. So this is the only thing you need. And then if I go here, I can press TagoIO run, enter. Now it's asked me to choose the scripts, and we got an error because I probably did not install the dependencies here on my folder. So let me try again. Now start analysis not defined. So I just copy the line of code, but of course I need to pass my function here. Okay, let's try again. And I also need to import this, I think, or my SDK is not in the last version. Let me update my SDK here to be sure. Yeah, now it connected. So make sure you do have SDK on the last version. And of course, getting the function here, very basic, uh, understanding how your Node.js code works. So now I am connected. So you can see I did not need to copy my analysis token. It got for me automatically from the profile token I provided in the init command. So now I can come here, for example, on my analysis, Relo word, where it is here. By the way, when you connect using CLI, it automatically changes to external for you. So you don't need to come here and put in external. So when I run, I get the information here. When I finish, I can go TagoIO EM to changing my analysis mode. So now I can see all my analysis, if it's running external or not. I can select my hello world script and change it to run on Tago again. So I don't need to go to my application here, enter my account, and to start changing things when I'm developing my application. So this is a very powerful tool that you can have. Let me check quickly here if there is something else. Okay, so we also have the inspector for devices. So this is something I did saw a few customers that really take advantage of this feature. So you can connect to your device inspector. We do inspect here. Which was the device I was using? Let me check. Let me get this one. So I can connect to this device. Okay, so I now can check real-time logs for when this device sends data. So if I send the payload here, I do receive all the decoding steps of this device. Like I have the raw payload that was received to my device. I can see the result of the Sigfox payload parser that we have for from TagoIO and how many data was added to our buckets. And you see same thing for analysis. So you can connect to your analysis console. So maybe you want to check what's happening on your analysis, don't want to go to TagoIO. You can connect to the console, you'll get this streaming to some file locally, so you can have the log stored locally. So there are a lot of things you can do here. Some other features that you have here on the CLI is the backup option. So this is a feature that a lot of our customer also request. So sometimes they want to backup all the data from their device from to their machine. Of course, TagoIO offers some options on on the platform itself. Now you have the CLI here that you can quickly get all the data and stream to your machine and have this stored on a CSV file or a JSON file. You can also change your device type if you have a situation where you have an immutable device, you want to change it to mutable device or the other way around, or even if you are still using legacy buckets, you want to start moving to the new types, you can use this device type command here to start changing your devices. So this make the process very easy. And if I'm not mistaken, you can check on the help of this command, but I do believe it's backup all the data before changing to immutable or mutable. Okay, I think I covered everything I want to show here. Thiago? Yeah, I can.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for the great presentation, Victor. It's great to be around new tools and new functionalities that are available now for customers that are indeed working through analysis or learning. So now we have more security, we have more organizations, and we have a couple different ways that we can manage our scripts and submit them to Toggle. I see that we have a question from Peter, where I can find an example to connect to InfluxDB from an analysis script. From my understanding, it looks like it's in TagoIO or from an external script.
Yeah, so all this I did show here about connecting externally. You are able to get package to or libraries from Node.js to work with TagoIO. You can build your script with this package and run inside TagoIO. When connecting to databases, there is a couple, or I would say a lot of different libraries that do SQL for you. So this is actually Node.js question if you are using Node.js, or a Python question, because you really just can get a tutorial specific for InfluxDB on Node.js, and TagoIO will not no need to support any specific database. You just check this tutorial specific for your database on Node.js, get it working, and you upload to TagoIO. If you have the ability to connect externally, I mean, if you can provide a URL for TagoIO to connect to the database, it can do that for you. Or if you want to run externally, connect locally, you can do that as well, but it's just basic Node.js. It's not specific. You don't need to make TagoIO to connect to your database. You just use the SQL library, connect, and get information you want. I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Thank you for your question, Peter, and thanks for the feedback as well. All right, let me give another look at the Q&A. Awesome. Thank you, Peter. Oh, there we go. We have a final question here from Ignacio. Are there any differences between Node.js and Python SDK?
The SDK itself, there is no difference at all. Um, Usually Node.js keeps being more updated because it's more used and we get more feedback. On the Python side, just we don't have that much of customers that use Python, so we take some time to get feedback if something's not working or if something is missing. Uh, so there, this is the main difference. But using Python or using Node.js as the SDK, you should see all the same things available. Uh, but if you are talking about analysis specifically, there is some difference inside TagoIO. So, for example, Node.js do support any library you want to use. So, for example, you want to use Axios or image.js library. You can build this externally on your machine and upload to Tago with all these packages for you to use. But if you do use Python, we could not support currently on Python for you to use external libraries. So you are limited on the Python side to use only the libraries that TagoIO make available internally or run externally if you want to use something third party.
There we go, Ignacio. I hope that helps and answers your question. There we go. We have another quick one. Are there any analysis or the SDK available to toggle car?
I'm not the best person to answer this question, but if I do remember well, you can use the TagoIO SDK with Tago Core. I can be mistaken, but I do remember when I did made an application with Tago Core to use the same SDK. Of course, there are some functionalities that are not available, like, for example, you don't have chunks on the Tago Core, but most of the features like accessing your data, etc., is just using device tokens. For example, you could just use the SDK and you have access to all your data, deleting data, editing data, all of that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Same.
And Ignacio, thank you for your question. Let's touch base on that later, and maybe we can take this to the next level. And all right, uh, looks like we are good, Victor. Now for sure. Appreciate the questions, Peter, Ignacio, and hope to see you all on our next webinar. We'll be sending this recording through your email so you can record, and it will also be posted soon on our website. We'd like to thank Victor as well for this presentation and everyone else to join. Enjoy the rest of your day.